What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Stub Show. This is actually Christmas Eve. Yeah, December the 23rd. You know, Christmas always fall on a Wednesday. So sometimes, is it always December the 25th? Does December the 25th always fall on a Wednesday or something? Maybe that's what it is. Thanksgiving switched up on us and sometimes switches up. But thank you guys for joining me here for another episode of the Stub Show. I hope that you guys are feeling wonderful and ready for a great new day. A great episode. I was about to say, I almost slipped up and was like, I hope you guys are ready for Christmas. But guess what? Christmas is not really as significant as some people make it out to be. It's actually just another day. And if you got money to get your kids some gifts, great. If you don't, great. But if you can get with your family and friends and have a nice meal, laugh, enjoy some time, spend it with people of good energy, that's what's amazing, and that's what's the season about. I think so many times people stress themselves out. Like, this is a time where a lot of suicides take place because a lot of parents feel like, I don't have money to get my kids this, or my kids are expecting this. I really want to say F those kids, but I shouldn't say that, right? But no, all jokes aside, you do enough as a parent, struggling every day to go to work, to put a roof over your children's head. That's a lot. Food on the table, that's a lot. Clothes on their back, that's a lot. You know, it's the inflation is serious and it takes a lot to survive nowadays. So if you can do it for you and your children, Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. Cinco de Mayo. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do. That's what it's all about. So we getting ready to kick this show off, you guys. I thank you for taking the time to join me here on your Christmas week. Listen, if you in the replays, listen to it and watch it with your whole family, because we're talking about getting out of the wilderness. And getting out that wilderness can include getting out of the wilderness of your family, your friends, your job, your spiritual life, your past, your marriage, your kids. So many things can put you in the wilderness. So I thank you guys for joining me on today. Let's get this show kicked off and let's get ready to talk about getting out of the wilderness here on the Stub Show. I thank you guys for joining me. Here we go. Firecracker in you, because you be like, let me unmute my mic. I had to mute it because it'd be some things going on the background that you guys don't need to know about. But no, not much. I see that my guest has entered the studio on today, and we are getting ready to get into our interview. But while I have you guys on really quick, because I got about 1 minute left before I bring the guest up, and I need to do my introduction. You know what? Forget it. I'll give that for later. I was going to open up a package for you guys, but I really don't have time for it. I'm getting ready to do my introduction and bring my special guest to the stage, because tonight we need to focus on the wilderness, getting you guys out of the wilderness. So let me tell you, I believe I'm still in the wilderness. I'm just crawling out. But 2025, I'm going to be up and out the wilderness, because so many times, and my pastor, Elder Kevin Hart, Senior always talks about how so many times we'll be in a wilderness or in a place of struggle or a place of, not being completely who we are and who we're supposed to be in life. And we just give up or we give in and we say, you know what, that's enough. I'm going to accept this and this is where I'm going to be. But that's not where you're supposed to be. That's not where you're supposed to give in at. You're supposed to keep going and crawl out the wilderness. So I'm not far out the wilderness. I'm like riding on the fence right now. Are there fences in the wilderness? I don't know, but I'm on the tree. So I'm on one side of the tree and the other leg is on the other side of the tree. But I'm taking that leg and I'm pulling it on over. So I got a toe over there actually. My leg and everything else is already on the other side. So I want to help you guys to get out of the wilderness. So let me get ready to introduce my special guest for today and let you guys know Miss Chloe Gallaway. She's coming all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I need to be right now. I bet the weather is better than what we have here. She is the author of the book The Soulful Child, 12 Years in the Wilderness. Woo, we're going to talk about some things. But also, she's the author of 12 Years in the Wilderness. She is a rare gem in the world of writing and coaching, offering her clients a story medicine pathway to tell their story. Ms. Gallaway believes that we all have a story, one that will first change our lives and then change the lives of others when integrated into a powerful narrative that will move our reader to be transformed right from the vibration of our words. The golden thread she embodies for both her readers and aspiring writers is her ability to connect to EM, which is your emotional memory, and create brilliant narratives from the wellspring of wisdom tied to our soul. If you have a soul message to get out, the story medicine pathway is for you. So if you have a soul message, you need to connect with her to get that story medicine pathway out of you. I done just reworded that. I be dropping bars, y'all. Y'all know I drop bars. Come on now. So let's get ready to welcome my special guest to the stage, Miss Chloe Gallaway. Hello, 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 and
Hello.
welcome to the Stub Show.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are you feeling on today?
Good. Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to talk with you and the audience and the world out there.
I'm loving your hair.
Yeah, this is it. Look, I mean, we went from the soulful child. This is me on the This is actually me. I don't know if I
Oh,
told you
that's
that.
you?
That's me on the cover. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the hair, see, it's still going. It's
Yeah,
still
it's still,
royal.
yeah, I'm glad you didn't cut. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome to the Stub Show. And how was your day today?
Pretty good. Yeah. Just
How's the weather there?
it is amazing. It is amazing.
Don't rub it in.
And where are you? I'm sorry. Where is
We
your
are in DC. Well, I'm in DC. People are all over, but I'm here in DC and we're
oh,
dealing with like 20s and 30s. Like
yeah.
it's horrible. It's like they want to call for snow and everything. And I'm just ready to throw the whole city in the trash right about now.
Yeah, it's tough, the East Coast. I mean, New Mexico, have a love affair with New Mexico, being raised in the wilderness here and where I live now at the base of the Sandia Mountain. But it's just blue skies and sunny, and the sun here, it really pierces your heart. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So,
I'm pretty sure it does to wake up in the morning to that. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to kick your interview off here on the Stub Show, so we can discuss your journey and also let the people know more about your book. So thank you for joining us for that. I'm getting ready to get into your questions that I thought I already had on up here. Are you ready for Christmas?
this is going to be a unique Christmas for me because my kids are in Paraguay, South America with their father, and I'm basically alone, which is crazy. And
Are they grown or babies?
no, they're young. They're 12 and 15. But I'm taking a break, so this is not bad for me. I'm using the time to fill up.
Yeah, enjoy you. See those babies when they come back. Us mothers, we that's like although they're with dad, you're still thinking about them. It's a forever job.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So let's get into your interview for today. We already announced that you are an author and you help others to present their stories to the world. But before we get into your book, we're going to discuss some of your journey in life. So the first question is, what made you want to take the leap of faith and begin to coach others on how to share their stories with the world?
Yeah, well, really, it came from writing my own book. Writing your story, or at least for me, writing my story was a spiritual journey. It took a lot of inner work to even get to the place of doing the writing. Yeah. So, and then unpacking the pain body of our story. My story is a really beautiful story with the backdrop of the wilderness, and my parents were part of the counterculture, and it has a lot of nuances to it that are really interesting. But it definitely had trauma. And so unpacking that trauma was, I felt like it was a pilgrimage for me. And going through that was so transformational that it really called me forward, right? To be more than just a writer of my own story, but to help others take their pilgrimage too.
Yeah, I'm a believer that our stories are meant to be the journeys that we go through in life, and our testimonies are meant to be shared to encourage someone else who's behind us, who's going through that similar situation and may not know how to get out of it. And our stories help to encourage them. So, you have a book about being 12 years in the wilderness. Before we get into more of your journey and testimony, please explain to us what your definition of being in the wilderness means.
Yeah. So for me specifically, I'll just give you the deets on it. I mean, we lived at the top of a mountain range down a dirt road that was, about 10 miles by car to many of the neighbors, about 3 or 4 miles on horseback, and no running water, no electricity, no outside worldly amenities, and a 2-room cabin that my father built
Mm.
himself, cut down trees from that area. So we're talking 400 acres of pinon and cedar and pine and oak and forest that's along the top of this high mountain range, and a herd of goats and wild horses and chickens. Yeah, so that is my description of the wilderness.
So many times when people hear, like even me, when I hear wilderness, you thinking about, like you're in this trauma or you're going through this thing of life. So that's why, I presented it like that. And then to come into your journey to explain it to people more, because us, the people that's living in the regular life, we don't know about that. But I'm pretty sure there was so many great things that you developed and learned from that, that if we experience, we would, take in a better understanding and perspective about life, which takes me into my next question, which is, in our previous discussions, you mentioned spiritual battles and manifesting in a 3D physical form. And I'm pretty sure some of that came forth within your upbringing as a child. Could you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so when I'm talking about 3D, I'm talking about here in the physical plane on Earth, right? I mean, higher consciousness, we talk about 5D or 8D, even like levels of consciousness. That's a big topic, of course, but just to keep it simple, you know, spiritual battles that are physical in 3D are like our health. So things that are happening with our body, things that are happening with our mind. They can be the things that are happening within our relationships, right? So the struggles that we face, in my childhood, the struggle I faced was being with my parents' relationship that was falling apart, actually. So we were living in isolation in the wilderness, and it was a really big dream and very idealistic what they were trying to do. But I don't believe that humans are meant to live alone. We're not meant to be isolated, actually. So this was extremely difficult for my parents at a certain point on the journey.
And if you don't mind sharing, what took y'all into the wilderness or made them make that decision to begin to live out there?
Yeah, I tried to answer that in the book because they were both very worldly. So my dad, they both grew up in Texas. My mom was a ballet dancer. She studied ballet for 15 years. They went to university. My dad was a scholar. He had scholarships to Harvard and Brown and like different universities when he graduated from high school. He was a folk singer. He actually played music with Janis Joplin.
Okay.
He was on the verge of fame. He was cutting records, and uh, so there was nothing in their predetermined life that would have foreshadowed that they were going to move into the wilderness. What took place were just several different events, from things that happened in San Francisco when my father was singing, and there was a drug bust for marijuana, and this was like even on the cover of like Time magazine during 1968, I think it was. And so they wanted to get out. They wanted to get out away from all the drugs. My father was seeing a lot of those musicians, really beautiful people, right? Like Jimi Hendrix, and just Janis Joplin was a close friend of his, actually, and she died of an overdose.
Mm.
And so that was really scary. They wanted out. They wanted away from the drugs. So the first thing was just getting out of that whole scene. And they just were kind of flying by the seat of their pants. And somebody mentioned a place in New Mexico that was like a sacred commune that they could come to. So that's how it started. And then just things kind of unraveled from there, where they kept making one choice after another through their circumstances.
And the first time that you went into the wilderness, at what age was that for you when they moved there?
Well, I was born there.
Oh,
So my mom gave birth to 6 children in the wilderness, with primarily just my father there. So
wow.
yeah.
That's a strong woman to be able to do that naturally. And I heard you say that as humans, we need people, and I believe in that. But I believe in also there's so much power within nature. Like, and I get where life might have just been too much at the time, and they just said we're going to detach from these people and raise our family here. So I can see me doing something like that, but like you said, the no running water, the other things that you guys had to conquer and go through. I don't know as a child that I would want to do that. Even as an adult, maybe I might be like, hold up, we're not doing the outhouses no more. We want to go with what the world does. But I can get and grip why they did that. So you mentioned in your bio that you believe that we all have a story to tell, one that will first change our lives and then change the lives of others when integrated into a powerful narrative. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I've been writing and coaching for 15 years. And so I've worked with numerous clients on helping them to tell their story. And just from that background and meeting so many different people from different walks of life and experiencing the diversity of the human experience, right, within us, really gives me that perspective that we all have a story. And then this is like a spiritual knowing too. It's a spiritual knowing that our story is a part of our path. Our story is a part of our deeper sense of testimonial. Like I think you said that, right?
Mhm.
It's the path. It's the undertow of this knowing of the soul, right? That God imprinted upon us. That's what our story is.
Mhm.
So everyone certainly has that, but not everybody really realizes that, because sometimes we feel blocked or have some self-worth issues or judgments about our story, to think I don't really have one, or maybe it's too much, or maybe it's too little.
Or maybe it's going to hurt someone else if if I share this, how are my children going to feel about it, and how is my
Yes.
family going to feel about it. And I know in your story, with you sharing a lot about what happened in your upbringing and talking about your parents and the cons work versus the pros and how you felt about it, did you ever feel like you didn't want to share it because your family may be offended or feel a certain way?
Well, my family, I was very connected to my family and involved with my family from the beginning. So I started writing poetry in college, and I would take my poetry and read it to my mother. My father was still living up on the mountain where I was raised. And so I would go back. I was like a pilgrimage. I would take this trek back up the mountain, and I would go to him and read him the poems. And
Mm.
then I started, writing the narrative, the full length narrative, and writing the book. And I would go and read him pieces of that. So I think that I bridged this gap, by just making the connection. And definitely there was times where there were conversations and things were uncomfortable. And, I have all my siblings. So the historian tells my siblings, and I'm trying to capture truth for myself and for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, um, I don't want to say it was perfect. Like my oldest brother, he definitely had some things to say. And we even argued at certain points over certain parts of the book. I did let him read the manuscript before it went to publication. And we even argued. He's very much a science guy, my brother, and he did study environmental science, and he was like
Mm-hmm.
pointing the factual things. And I was like, listen, it doesn't matter if it happened on a Saturday or a Friday, it's
Right.
like
It happened.
it's 333 pages. I'm getting this down, but there were bigger things that were more important to him about how I presented his character, because I'm a girl, he's a boy. I'm seeing him through my female lens.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were some arguments, and we came through that. And I want to say he's the biggest supporter of my book now. He literally gives it away everywhere that he goes, airplanes, trains. He travels quite a bit. He gives it to people.
That's a beautiful thing to have them in support, because you said it's 6 of you guys, right? Or 7?
Yeah. 6.
Are your parents still alive?
So my dad passed, and my mother is alive and lives next door to me.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Wow, you should have brought mom over for the interview. It would
She knows I'm on. I was just over there having tea, and I was like, I gotta go get on a podcast. And she's like, you go do your thing. She's 84 years old. She's like,
wow, and it would have been great to hear her speak of her life as being a supportive wife in the wilderness, trying to take care of kids. And
oh,
I mean, that's a strong woman. She birthed you out there.
oh, she went through some stuff you won't believe. Yeah.
Let's say hell. She went through some hell, basically,
Yeah.
but she endured to come out and now live in her peace. Was your brother born there too, or was he?
Yeah, all of us were born in different locations, basically in wilderness areas. So yeah, and healthy, and no birth problems, and not even any breech babies. I mean, it's like,
That's why we need your mother on the show.
yeah.
We need her to talk about all that natural birthing that she did.
She was very into herbs, and like my dad, I mean, because throughout our entire childhood, we never saw a doctor. They treated illnesses. I had a broken leg at one point. He set my broken leg. Let me tell you, that was not fun. That was not fun.
But so what did he do? Because I want to hear. I want to know.
Well, I mean, I broke it trying to run away, actually, and this is the thing. You can't run away when you're 10, right? I was like attempting to run away and find my way into the world. I was very mad at my dad at this time. Anyway, so I fell and I broke my leg, and I don't want to go into the whole part about how I recovered from that, but he brought me back home at a certain point and checked the leg, and it was my right leg, and the bone was broken. And he just said, you got to I'm going to set your bone. He said, I'm going to set your bone back in place, and I need you to just wrap your arms around my neck and hold on, and no pain meds, nothing. And I'm going to put your bone back into place, because he knew like he could do it. He'd been doing it with animals and doing all kinds of stuff, and then he wrapped it and splinted it. I cried and cried, and then I passed out.
Right, because the body naturally passes out when it
because
endures
it's just
a
too
certain amount
much.
of pain.
You can't deal with it. And then
we're getting ready to take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna get more into that and your feelings about it, and the holistic way of living versus the process way of living, because I want to know your perspective on that, because I was thinking one thing and we're going to go into a whole nother thing now, because now I'm like, you're like, dad was maybe, a little wild for that. And I'm like, go dad, like we need we'll get into it. We're getting ready to take
Yeah.
a quick break, you guys, here on the Stub Show, and we're gonna get back into it, my guests, about the wilderness. You know, so many times we think about the wilderness as like we're going through trauma, we're going through all these things, but she actually lived in the wilderness, and we're gonna tell you more about that and how you can get involved. So we're going to take a quick break right here on the Stub Show, and we'll be right back. Don't go. Are you ready to live a sober life right from the privacy of your home? Well, check out the 7 Secret Pillars of Sobriety by author Tim Murphy. It is all about what to do when AA and 12-step programs aren't for you. You can check out his book on Amazon at 7 Secret Pillars of Sobriety by author Tim Murphy. It's time to make your change. Hey, what's up, you guys? I just want to let you know that I am seeking book authors to become a guest on our show. Now, it was Instagram Live, but now we're on all 3 platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, this is your way to grow and reach more people. Don't forget to email us at thelofnetwork@gmail.com. And you can become a guest on the show and also have your book placed within the show. All right, you guys, I look forward to hearing from you soon. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Stubbs Show. I am your host, Stubbs. Yet again, I hope you enjoyed that break. Remember, if you would like to become a guest on the show, you can just email me at thelofnetwork@gmail.com. I am looking for some guests to join me in January and February, and you got to move quick because it's filling up. So I want to get you on before we take our next break for the show. I'm getting ready to bring my special guest back on the show to talk to you guys more about living in the wilderness. And before we left, we were talking about her life in the wilderness, actually growing up in the wilderness. So we're going to get back into that and talk to her about that. Is Miss Chloe Gallaway coming all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Is it Mexico or New Mexico?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. I hope my girl Kiana hears this because she's in New Mexico and she actually needs to connect with you. So when we were leaving,
yeah.
you were talking about your dad actually fixing your broken leg
Yeah.
in the wilderness. And as I think about the children nowadays, and we hear all this holistic stuff, and for me, I'm like, oh, that's cool that your dad actually knew how to do these things, and you guys didn't have to go to the doctors. Do you live a holistic life now?
Primarily, I mean, I do live in the world, on the outskirts of a city, which gives me quite a bit of pain sometimes. But I believe in prevention as the first step, right? So I definitely do all the holistic stuff. Like I'm using essential oils, I'm using herbs. I even garden, some, not as extreme as how I grew up, of course, because my dad was like completely nothing of the world, right? Let's do everything. But I use oregano oil, and I use all the vitamins and minerals and all the stuff that basically are the core things that the body needs
Mm-hmm.
to be stable. And I really only believe that Western medicine should be used for acute trauma. So like a major car accident, or there's a place, in other words, for
And
Western
when
medicine.
you say Western medicine, explain that too.
Western medicine, I mean traditional MD type medicine, or hospitals or urgent cares, where they may be using antibiotics or using prescription drugs. So, like big pharma and all the prescription drug movement, I'm
Mm-hmm.
primarily against that, because I think that most things can be prevented if you give the body what it needs. So that's, with our food, our minerals, our supplements, and a lot of places, actually, like the land that we grow up on, God provides those things on the land that we grow up on. So the provision is actually there. We've just gotten so far away from it, we don't know.
And I believe it says, I can't quote the scripture, you may know, but the Bible does speak on how God provides everything that we need, even the medicine. But we have abused the land so much. I think about when we go into the grocery stores and the inflation, how much we have to pay for things that grow freely out of the ground. And it's like, whoa, it's like, and I know you probably look at that stuff and like, wow, growing up, like you had those things of the source. Did any of your siblings actually stay in the wilderness, or did everybody come out?
Everybody came out. That's part of the story. We came out by being taken from my parents, actually, when I was 12. So that's part of the trauma, was that we ended up being taken and we were placed in foster care. So it was pretty tragic for my parents. For us, we were kind of excited because we were like, oh, we're gonna eat mac and cheese and peanut butter and jelly, like the worldly stuff, because we knew about that, and we knew that we were different, right? But it was also very traumatic to leave the wilderness itself, to leave Mother Nature, and to leave my parents. That was a huge trauma. And but we had a foster mom that was incredible. She just
Okay.
was like this loving, amazing, like, want to talk about somebody that follows Jesus, right? That woman followed Jesus, and she literally saw an advertisement in the newspaper for these 5 kids that needed a home, and she prayed about it, and God said, take them. And she got on the phone with the social services and asked like 3 questions, and then said, I'll take them. And she hadn't even met us,
All five.
all 5 of us.
Wow.
And we were like from 8 to 15 years old.
You're right. Older.
Yeah, like an 8-year-old. Oh, my younger brother, and I had a younger brother, younger sister than myself at 12, and then older brothers. So imagine that she took all of us.
And that had to be a blessing, because in today's time, people aren't taking children that old, first of all, from foster care, and not all of them. The siblings are usually broken up. So that was a good thing, as you look back, and that she happened to actually be nice and have the following of God in her, because we know that so many children, most 90% of the children that I talk to that come out of foster care come from a bad experience and trauma driven. So that is not anything positive to say. So as you are looking back over your life as a child and seeing how the children of today are so spoiled with items and material things, were you worried about the material things? Do you think that technology and the need of processed items are destroying them, and in what ways?
Uh, yes. I mean, we are on a precipice, right, of destruction in our society. I mean, so there's different ways to look at this. I mean, we are a society of constantly seeking and wanting things quickly, right? So quick satisfaction. Um, this sort of leads to a lack of gratification and wanting more, right? So the simplicity of just having a little and having gratitude for it was certainly a staple in my childhood, because we had so little. Now, I think you could have a little more than I had and still be okay, right? But teaching these principles to children when they are just surrounded and bombarded with materialism and the idea of having more and having more as the route to happiness, that is the big deception that we're living under. Right. And so we have to speak against that. Like for me, I'm speaking against it all the time with my children and saying, well, we don't really need that. I know that you have a desire. And I even talk about the feelings of desire and the feeling of wanting. And I talk about how the world puts that on us all the time. But what does God put on us? Right? God has us seek simplicity and gratitude and things of nature and love, like a connection to an animal. So, we have two Labradoodles and I got them that. I'm like, well, I'm going to get you this because you're going to experience the connection to an animal. And that is something that I believe God wants you to experience, right?
More than a material item.
Yes, more than like a brand new this or that or whatever, right? I mean, yeah, so we're all caught in it. And even for me, I sometimes feel the shame of, I know better. I do know better, right? Like I know the difference. A lot of people just don't even know the difference. They're born into that materialism. They're born into that seeking that is placed upon us. Like you must seek the desire of everything to be happy.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that is actually, I heard about a young girl committing suicide not too long ago. And I was thinking like, wow. And then I watched the news and I heard about the 17-year-old who, a young lady again, who went into the school and got the shooting and then she killed herself. And my mom was saying, like, wow, what could be going on in your mind at 17 that it makes you want to take your life? And I'm like, a lot, in today's society, it's so much pressure on our kids to not be kids, to not just live their life and be regular. And, that's why I was saying, like, as a child, I could understand living in the wilderness is rough. But as you grow up, and if more people did it, we would have a society that had more people of caring, of empathy and compassion, more understanding, and the perspectives would be different than, like you said, need, want, have, and microwave, because everything is so quick. And you guys didn't have a microwave, did you?
Oh no, honey. No, 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 no. There ain't no mic. I still don't have one.
Okay.
So, I do have electricity and I have like a, sort of normal house, but it's got earthen walls. But I don't have a microwave still, right? Because I know that it kills my food. So there's just things like that, right? Like the wisdom that was handed down to me certainly was a massive gift. And now it did take me quite a few years to understand that.
It takes growing up. I think as a child, we want all this stuff that we did that we see other people with. And then when you grow up and get older, especially over 40, you learn the importance of simplicity. And how, a simple life is just okay. We want all this success and all this money and not knowing the headache that comes with it, and all the energies that you have to go through, and trials and tribulations that you have to go through. So in your book, you tell more about the journey, and the life that you went through with the soulful child, 12 years in the wilderness. With that book, what do you want people to take away from it? Because there's some people that's going to be like, well, I don't want to live in the wilderness, or that's not me. What was your purpose for writing that, and what do you want the readers to take from it?
Yeah, well, there's really some core things. So one is that we have the opportunity to be connected to our soul. And this is very important. So it's called The Soulful Child for a reason, because I was the soulful child. So I was very connected to nature, which helped me connect back to my own soul. I was very connected to God through nature. So not so much like religion of the church, but just feeling the presence of God and Jesus particularly. I felt like Jesus was my friend. I
I don't,
felt
I don't mean to interrupt you. But I want you to elaborate more and explain more when you say nature helped you to connect with God in a
Yeah.
different way that religion didn't, because I agree. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, feeling the trees, for example, like I spent a lot of time in trees as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Trees, I was just hugging them and holding them and laying in tree branches, and I literally felt like God provided them for me, right? So there was that. It was like, well, I knew that God created the creation of what was all around me, right? And so of course my father did speak that. He taught me that. My mother taught me that too, right? But then when I was in the nature, it was like I could hear God speaking to me,
Mm.
right? I was hearing what, not auditory wise, but spiritually, like bounding through my heart, right? Like there's a heart language that we have with God. I think when we are opened and when we are still, and nature brings us into that stillness to be able to hear the voice of God.
Mm. And I agree. And it's, I wanted to elaborate more on that because most people learn about God and about Jesus and then through a higher power through religion. And then they get upset when religion lets them down because religion is just people, it's a ritual, it's a thing that you do. But when you step out of that and you get into a spiritual realm of things, it's a whole different connection in a different world. And like you said, hugging the tree and being within nature. And some people would say, well, that's crazy, but he created that. How would you not think that? And nature has been around longer than us. So it's like their being is a whole different being. So if we connect with that, it's just a beautiful magic. But go ahead. You were talking about some other things with nature and all that, but I wanted you to elaborate on that because a lot of times people don't, they think that I'm hearing a voice and this is crazy and I'm not supposed to hear voices and I'm not
Right.
supposed to hear
You're
certain things.
mentally ill, perhaps, or something. No, no, we're not talking about an auditory voice, right? We're
Right.
talking about a feeling and a sensing of the voice, right? This is how the voice of God comes in. And like even animals though will like show up in presence. Like when my father died, he was very into doves and he was a musician. So he sang a song called Tres Palomas, which is the three doves,
Hmm.
and that was the last song that he wrote and sang. And after he died, I went to the back porch and there were three doves huddled there. And they sat around me for 15 minutes.
Mm.
And doves don't do that. When you come, they fly.
Right. And
They
people actually
stayed,
pay to have them at the funeral, but they were there for you for free.
yeah, for 15 minutes, they huddled around me. And so I'm like, God is speaking to me about my father, right? He's like saying to me, we have to interpret these things, of course, right? But for me, it was the Tres Palomas, so I knew it was from my dad. I knew.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. And like you said, it's not like a voice where you're like, oh, my friend sat there and she told me this, but it's a spiritual feeling that you feel taken in and taken over you. And sometimes in the beginning it could be scary, but as you continue to sit still and position yourself, you grow more into those things. But go ahead. You were saying more if you want to keep going. I don't know where we lost off.
Well, I was talking about that I had this particular connection to Jesus because the idea of God was so, it was like God seemed bigger and further away. And, I was this small child, right? I mean, this little girl running through the woods. But Jesus was my friend. Like, I had this sense of him, like, oh, he's my friend. I kind of felt like he was out in the woods with me. I mean, I would wander off. We had these acres of wilderness, right? So we would all wander off. I'd wander off by myself. I had this tree house platform that I had built where I could look out like way across the mountain and stuff. And I always felt like he was there, like he was just with me, right? He was beside me. I didn't see him. I could feel him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think there was something really important. I mean, I did go to church later. Like I did not go to church my whole childhood. The wilderness was my church, right? But later I went to church and I was like hearing the message of how we receive the Father through the Son. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's what happened to me. It was like organically it happened. Nobody told me per se that's what was supposed to happen. It was just happening to me, right? Well, Jesus, yeah, my friend, that guy that would hang out with me all the time.
Yeah. And that's amazing because, like I said, most people find him through religion or through someone telling them. And that's how you know he's real, because here it is, you were in the wilderness and made that connection. And I mean, don't knock me, you guys, but I just feel like the spirit has more power than anything you can gain from a religion. And in order for you to understand him, you have to spiritually come to. And it's I've never heard anyone say that they learned him without coming to church first,
Right.
and actually trust and believe it without going through the rituals of religion. So this how it's real. And then also it's speaking to me, like when I'm going through stuff and you hear that voice, but then you're like, wait, is that you? And then it's like, but then all the problems try to confuse you and crowd you, so that you don't focus on the spirit that's speaking to you. So yeah, this is, we're going to come back, you guys. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to let you know how you can get a copy of your book, of her book, a copy for you of her book, so that you can connect with Miss Chloe Gallaway. And the name of her book is The Soulful Child, 12 Years in the Wilderness. It is on Amazon, so you can order that book. We're going to get ready to close out this interview, but before we do, we're going to get you connected with her and make sure that you can get your copy. And I think it might make a good Christmas gift. You guys, I don't mind religion. I go to church, but I'm more spiritual than religion. And I just believe that the spirit has more power than your pastor, maybe. I don't know. Let me shut up for somebody to get mad at me. I don't need nobody getting mad at me. Y'all know I don't want to be starting out with y'all. So let's take this quick break. I'll be right back. Are you ready to live a sober life right from the privacy of your home? Well, check out the 7 Secret Pillars of Sobriety by author Tim Murphy. It is all about what to do when AA and 12-step programs aren't for you. You can check out his book on Amazon at 7 Secret Pillars of Sobriety by author Tim Murphy. It's time to make your change. Hey, you guys, make sure you keep the conversation going and join us on YouTube at the Leap of Faith Network. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also keep the conversation going on Facebook weekly with our updates at the Stubb Show. So make sure you go on there and like that as well. Also, if you just started a brand, took a leap of faith, or have a business and you want to share your testimony, your backstory, how you got things started, then we need you as a guest right here on the Stubb Show. It's time to take that leap of faith, so connect with us so we can help you. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Stubb Show. I want to give a special shout out to movie producer Mick Hill. He sent me a copy of his shirt with a signed copy. You know your girl's special. Who? I'm special. He sent me a signed copy, and he just let it be known that his movie has released. So you guys check it out. It is 4 years, 8 months. Make sure you follow him on Facebook at Mick Hill. That's MICKHILL. And just go to the Stubb Show. His interview is up, but he's looking for possible cast for his upcoming movies. You can be involved, and he's employing some people. Some of y'all need a job, so make sure you connect with him if you are in the DMV area, which is DC, Maryland, or Virginia, so that you can possibly get hired by him. Also, you guys, make sure you check out my boy right here. This is Dane Riley. He is a jazz artist, and of course, it's signed. Why wouldn't it be? It's for me. Also, my girl who's on here, Tracy McLean. Now, if you guys are getting married, and some of you are, she's a wedding officiant, and she's ready to help you to get married. She's also included within this book as a book author for the Chronicles of Life After Death. Make sure you guys check them out. on Amazon at by visionary author Patrina Macon. So make sure you get a copy of that. My girl Tracy McLean is on there. I don't know, girl. I might get married someday soon. Let's see what God has to say about that. Maybe she'll get me married. I don't know. Let's pray about it for in 2025. God might do something great. Hallelujah. All right, let me get back focused. Hold on. Keep them hands up. Keep them hands up. What'd you say when I said hallelujah?
Hallelujah. Yeah.
He might
Yes.
can get me married, sis. You never know.
That's right.
Yeah, but before we left, we were talking about in the wilderness in your book. Let the people know how they connect with you, any events that you have coming up, and how you can assist them with getting themselves together. I am Tracy. I'm getting married. I seen your comment. I'm getting married.
Yeah, the easiest way to connect with me is just on Facebook and through Messenger. So Chloe Rachel Gallaway. I am on Instagram as well, but I'm on Facebook most frequently. And just send me a message in Messenger and reach out. I am also going to be launching a great workshop for women in January. And it's all about healing the masculine wound, actually. So we're going to be doing my process of story medicine to connect and write stories about our masculine experiences, and both positive and negative. But for many of us, yeah, and there you can email me as well. And but about the masculine wounding, and connecting to our origin stories of the masculine experience. And sometimes that begins with our fathers or brothers, but for a lot of people it's outwardly things in the world as well. And it's part of my mission, really, just to help people discover their voice and connect to the core of their story. And this particular workshop is going to be unearthing, those patterns and belief systems that have come out of hurt that has been caused from the masculine. And I'm a huge support of the masculine. I love men. I think that our men need us to surround them with health and healing and really uplifting conversations, as well as accountability. And so I'm really looking forward to connecting with women that just, they feel called to do that too. They feel called to bring a bigger conversation and restore balance between the masculine and feminine. As well, if you're interested in telling your story, or you have a story to tell and you want to do it in a way that I call the story medicine, so really unearthing the medicine of the story into actual book, I would love to talk with you. Thank you.
Well, I'm coming back on right now. What I would say is, yes, we need to heal that masculine space and trauma from that and that energy. I'm for the men too, but I need the women to be men and sorry, don't need the women to be men. I need the women to be women and let the men be men, and
Yes.
remove some of that trauma and that aggression and some of this like masculinity. I feel like, women have had, especially single moms, have had to step up, and then they're mad about some of the energy that they had to take on from the male to in order to survive. And some women seem to hate the men nowadays. And it's like,
There's just a
oh,
lot, right? There's a lot to unpack around the masculine wounding. And it doesn't really benefit us to be in resentment and anger. The thing is, these energies actually drain us, right? I mean, my dad did a lot of things that were hurtful. He was both my hero and he was very flawed. And so I walked this part of my story out, to forgive him and to see all sides of him. And I came back into my power when I did that. So I know that this works, when you go in and you really unpack it instead of letting that sort of play out in your life. And it just doesn't advantage us in any way to carry resentment or anger about these things. So if we unpack it, we can heal and we can be more whole. And that is what the planet needs.
and I would definitely agree. So, ladies, you make sure you connect with her so that in January you can sign up for those classes. And if she sends me the information, we'll be posting it. Also, throughout this week, you can see the information. So if you go to this interview and within the comments when you get off, Miss Galloway, just make sure you put that information on our Facebook page for the women to sign up and be a part of that. But you guys, this has been a fabulous interview. Before I go, I want to make sure that I ask this question. I got two questions for you before you go. But one of my questions is, because I want people to go and purchase a copy of your book, which I'm about to put that link up. What do you want people to take away from reading the book, The Soulful Child, 12 Years in the Wilderness?
The biggest thing about my story is the resiliency of the human spirit. It's really, I think, I'm so grateful for the people that are reading it, and the feedback that I get, and the message really is the power of overcoming, the power of that, that resiliency of the human spirit. I mean, what we can come through, right? When we connect to God, when we can connect to the light, if you will, right? And believe that we can get through any circumstance that's going on. If they read the story, they're gonna see some pretty heavy stuff that goes down, right? But they're going to see how we came out of that, me and all my siblings. And I mean, how amazing. I didn't even go to school till I was 12. And here I am, a writer, and making my living full time as a writer.
I'm not big on school, so I'm like, hey, if you didn't go to school and you survived without going to
Maybe
school,
that's better. It's
yeah,
true,
I'm
right?
like that. That's good for you. That's good for you. But I want the people to connect with you to be able to just learn a spiritual freedom and to be able to hear your story and the things that you've been through, and just coming from a holistic place, because your perspective is open. And we live in a world where we just judge on everything. Whereas with you, you're about simplicity. You're not. Are you married?
I'm divorced actually from my children's father. So that's been a little bit.
Fellas, y'all better head on over. She's the best, one of the best women you can have, because she's
Yeah.
not like you got to have all these material things. I'm just throwing that out there, but so
No.
many people are
Yeah.
are so materialistic, and I
No.
just say we miss out on living our best life because we're worried about trying to keep up with society. And I think that social media is cool for how you can go on the internet and connect with people all over the world, but I think that it's one of the most worst things that happen to us, because it makes people go into all this anxiety, stress, and issues over trying to keep up with a fake world. So now anybody can create a movie because that's what social media is. And some people don't get that they're creating something that's not a reality. So everyone's trying to keep up. But I thank you for joining us here on the Stub Show. You guys, make sure you go and follow her on Facebook at Chloe Rachel Gallaway. You see her name there. We will also be sharing this interview throughout the week. Thank you for everyone who made a comment. Shout out to my girl Tracy McLean again, who's always showing some support here on the Stub Show. Remember, you guys, if you want to be a guest, you can just email, DM, whatever platform you're on, inbox, whatever it is, and connect with us. But most importantly, connect with Miss Chloe Gallaway to get yourself healed and get yourself signed. Ladies, sign up for those classes. Some of y'all not married because you're too masculine. You need
Or
to
too
heal.
mad, or too mad at the
Yeah,
masculine, right?
or too mad at the man, right? You're so fired up about what daddy or somebody else did, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Rrr," and you need to just be like, so you need to heal some of that and do it with someone who has the experience. So sign up for those classes coming up this January. She's going to put them in the comments moving forward this weekend on the Stub Show. I never let my guests leave without leaving us with something positive. So it can be anything, but it has to be positive. Go ahead and close your segment out for us.
Yeah, just remember you have power within you. So, and you have power within you that is the light of God within you. And so, if you're dealing with something that's hard right now, just find a moment and get still. I really invite you to go out and be present to some trees. That will help you. But the big thing is just take a breath and just remember the power that lives within you.
Amen. Amen. And I just want to add this in about nature. If you're not right and you go into them trees in the wilderness, it will scare the hell out of you when the wind is blowing. So you got to make sure you're ready because nature is real. That's where the spirit really lies in. And you can just sometimes those winds go and you can look up and it could be a good thing. And if your heart or spirit ain't sitting right, it can be a powerful, scary thing too. So, make sure you enter right. I thank you for joining us here on the Stub Show. I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. Continue to share your story and share the stories of others. And getting folks in the wilderness. I want them in the
Me
wilderness.
too. Me too.
I want them
Let's
in
do
there
it.
because this world has lost its mind
Yep.
with things. And I'm like, go into the wilderness after you come out the mental wilderness of pain. Go in there with simplicity and healing. So I thank you for joining us here on the Stub Show. You continue to have a good rest of your day. Happy holidays.
You too.
Did
Merry
you guys have the holidays in the wilderness?
Yeah, we celebrated Christmas. I mean, we didn't bring a Christmas tree in the house because we had, 300 trees outside uh, that were all around us. But there was snow and all these trees packed in snow. And my grandmother would send us a box that always had an amazing fruit cake in it. And it, was amazing to get a box from
Is
the.
all this in the book?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh, you guys, I don't, that's why I didn't want to tell too much. You got to go in the book, get the
yeah.
book so you can be able to read and learn about that and about the wilderness. I thank you, Chloe. You have a good
Thank
evening.
you, thank you.
All right, you
Bye.
guys. Remember, make sure you check out her book right there on. We're going to put it in the Facebook page, but you can go on Amazon and check out. I put the link there for Amazon, and it's like really long. Let me show you guys how long it is. But if you are on that platform, and that platform there is YouTube. So if you are on a YouTube platform, all you have to do is copy and paste it. And this one is on Facebook. So you can copy and paste. And you can also just shoot her an email right there, that email address right there, and she can connect with you. Ladies, sign up for that class in January. You're never going to get married until you heal that masculine energy. Nobody has time for it, not even me. I had to heal my own and get over it, and I'm still working on me. So you guys make sure you sign up for that class and we'll have it there. We're getting ready to end it with I believe this is Santa Baby again. She's been on here for 3 weeks now. Listen, don't get mad at me. You should have sent me a Christmas video. You didn't. She did. So this is Nafisa. Let me go to her video, you guys. Last week was giving me a problem. We're not doing that this week, you guys. We're not doing it. Let me see if it comes up. Now watch it. You know what? Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me see. And let's see if it come up, you guys. It didn't, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Nafisa. We're going to end it with that song. Hey, what's up,
Santa
you guys? I just want to
baby.
let you know that I am seeking book authors to become a guest on our show. Now, it was Instagram Live, but now we're on all three platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, this is your way to grow and reach more people. Don't forget to email us at the lofnetwork@gmail.com. And you can become a guest on the show and also have your book placed within the show. All right, you guys. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Hey, you guys, make sure you keep the conversation going and join us on YouTube at the Leap of Faith Network. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also keep the conversation going on Facebook weekly with our updates at the Stub Show. So make sure you go on there and like that as well. Also, if you just started a brand, took a leap of faith, or have a business and you want to share your testimony, your backstory, how you got things started, then we need you as a guest right here on the Stub Show. It's time to take that leap of faith, so connect with us so we can help. Hold on, you guys. I had to pause because you see your girl found it. You see, I found it. Remember, if you have a video, a commercial for your business or your brand that you would like to share here on the Stub Show, all you have to do is connect with me. I'm looking for some jewelry sponsors. I'm looking for fashion. Y'all see, I got my cue Christmas sweater on today because Christmas is just a few days away. And if you want to send me a gift, just inbox me. I'll let you send me a gift. But you guys, I'm looking for fashion designers. I'm looking for jewelry. I'm looking for somebody to do this little bow head and all that. Somebody said I had an acorn hand, and I'm like, come on now, boo. You know that's not what it is. But you guys, make sure you connect with me and we can partner. If you want to have your products be a part of the show, we can make that happen too. Let's talk. I'm looking for new commercials. I'm looking for new videos. I'm looking for new guests. Come and be a part of the grow up, the glow up, and the show up of the Stub Show. I don't went there, didn't I? Let's get into this video. This is Nafisa, and I believe she's straight out of Washington, D.C. with Santa Baby. Oh, I can't wait to see my Santa Baby. I don't know if you got a Santa Baby. That's on you, but I can't wait to see mine.
Check my Christmas list. 5 carats of better do that you can't miss. Lavish lights got a shine from my neck to my wrist.